And I knew it was serious when the ambulance came and I was like walking towards the ambulance. I started vomiting blood. This is when I knew it was serious. Both of your lungs are blocked and the right side of your heart is blocked. And we don't know if you're gonna make it. I was like, make what? It's like, what do you mean make it? We don't know if you're gonna be with us in the next few hours. I wouldn't say it was one trigger per se. I would say that it was a lot of different events and a lot of different things that happened that forced me to say, you know what, I'm going to change my life. In Egypt, I used to play for Zamalek Club, Ahli fans, or Ittihad fans, and then they come in and guess what? The only person that looks different between both teams is one person. That I'm going to grow myself, I'm going to leave a legacy, I'm going to do some stuff that is really good for the world. I'm going to be committed to become a better person, to live as long as I can, to help as many people as I can. I mean, for me, every second being able to breathe is happiness. Every additional day that we get from God is happiness for me. It's my role in life to make sure that people are educated about their health and their wellness. People are educated about the importance of doing the right thing to be healthy, because no one is protected. When we started P3 stands for People, Planet, and Profit. Our mantra is, if you do the right thing for your people and you do the right thing for the planet, every CFO is going to be happy because you're going to have the profits, and we can show you that. We got invited there because they heard that there is someone that is doing some great things in the US, and let's find a way to partner with them. And I went there, I went around the White House area, met with Shelley Fall, who was the president of the President's Council on Sports, Fitness and Nutrition. Nothing
At all?
I don't regret anything. I lost my life, man. It's like there is nothing to be regret. Like, there is nothing that any individual, any human being should be regretting. No, absolutely not. It was a great thing, because without the blood clot, I would have not gone to New York. I would have not met my wife. I would have not got into the healthy building movement.
Tekha, are you ready to unleash?
Ready to unleash.
Percentage before we start. What's the percentage?
100%.
Okay, that's what we
100%.
It's a pleasure having you here today. I'm actually so curious to know, why did you take this chance on yourself that I want to change myself? Because most people, they accept the status quo. Lovely. What was the reason from your end to change yourself and lose 65 kg?
I don't think anyone accepts. That's what I used to tell myself. I accept the way I am. But no one is happy with being overweight, or no one is happy with having anything that is bad in their life, right? I don't think anyone accepts. It's more than you're forced to accept because you don't have a way to change. Let's ask any overweight kid, let's ask any overweight person anywhere all over the world, right? No one will be able to tell you that, oh, I'm happy with the way I am. They're lying to themselves. And I used to do the same. I used to say, I'm happy with myself. I'm big, I'm different. Even in school, I was stronger than any of the kids. I was just like the different kid. But deep inside myself as a person, I was never happy. No one is happy to be an overweight kid. I was just not happy. And I guess it's a lot of different things that happened throughout my life. And especially when you're at school and you look different, your sizes are different. Everything you do is different from everyone else. And you start feeling that you're not happy with the way you are. You're not happy with the way you look. You're not happy with the way you feel. And I just decided to, I just put my mind to it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to change my life, from something that I'm very uncomfortable with, being overweight, to let me just challenge myself and put my mind to it and let me change my life. But no one accepts. Again, I know for a fact that many people always says that I'm happy with the way I look, and we see nowadays we see a lot of videos on Instagram and on social media of like overweight people that are kind of like bragging about that they're happy with the way they look. I promise you, deep inside, if you go to a psychologist, deep inside of them, they're not happy. No one is happy with looking that way and feeling that way. So I just decided to change my life.
That's lovely. So curious to know, what was the trigger? Because I believe there was always reasons for someone to change something, right? Do you remember that trigger that told you, no, listen, I want to change something. I want to take this life into another level. Do you remember that moment?
It was a cup, right? It was a cup that is being filled up. It was a lot of events and a lot of things that are happening with me throughout my childhood days and throughout school and throughout basketball, and you play in front of fans. And in Egypt, I used to play for Zamalek club, and Ahli fans or Ittihad fans, and then they come in, and guess what? The only person that looks different between both teams is one person. So all the highlight is on you. Everyone is looking at you, and it was just a cup that is being filled up. And I was fed up, and I felt that I'm better than this. I felt that I deserve better than this. And I wouldn't say it was one trigger per se. I would say that it was a lot of different events and a lot of different things that happened that forced me to say, you know what? I'm going to change my life. I want to feel, I wanted to be just a normal person. That was the motivation. I just want to walk on the street, sit in a restaurant, go to a movie, go and play a basketball game without always thinking that I'm different, that something in me is different. And when you're dealing with that, that's a lot on your brain. That's a lot on your mental well-being. When you're always constantly feeling that you are different, you just sit with yourself and it's like, you know what? I really need to start changing my life. So not one trigger. It was a lot of different events that happened throughout my life.
Much, 65 kg. It's too much. It's another. I believe that it's another person. You lost another person.
It is.
In a weight.
Yeah.
How long does it take from you to lose this 65 kg?
It took me 11 months. I lost 65 kilos in 11 months. But it took me 11 months of commitment, of hard work, of fighting with myself, of just constantly telling myself that I am going to do this. And I always say that losing weight is one of the most important things that anyone can go through, because you're not fighting anyone else. You're not competing with anyone else. You're competing with yourself. You're competing with things that you like. You're competing with the fridge. You're competing with social things. You go out with your friends. Everyone is eating certain foods, and you decide that you're not going to eat this because you want to, change your life and you want to be better. And it's a constant fight and a constant war that is going on between you and you. That's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing, but it's doable, because I believe that your mind and your brain has the power to do anything, to change anything. And yeah, it was a journey. It was a journey that I'm proud of.
That's very impressive. Actually, when I met you, you told me like a great story, and I don't know how come that it goes like that way. 5% survival, right? Can you tell me a little bit about what happened in your life? And I remember that you told me that you almost lost your life and you gained it again. Can you tell me what happened at that time?
Yes. So it was the worst thing that happened in my life, and at the same time, it was the best thing that happened in my life. When I lost the weight, I was a very good basketball player. When I lost the weight, I got a scholarship to go and play in the US. Okay. At the time, I was playing for college basketball, NCAA Division II, very high level basketball. I was teaching at the university, and I was getting my master's degree, and I was running Tekha group at the time. Best time of my life. Mind you, I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke. I don't party. I don't do any of these things. I went there. I had a target to get my master's degree, play college basketball, teach my courses, and just expand and grow Tekha group. And that was what I wanted to do. And so when I was in the US, I remember we had Christmas break. So during Christmas break, college basketball, everything, like, you have time off. So I went to Arizona to my very good friends, Dr. Robert and his wife, Ingrid. He used to teach at Arizona State University. I just went there to, spend some time with them. And I remember we went at night. We went for bowling. Very nice night, enjoyed it, went to sleep, woke up the next day. I can't move from bed. And for me, I didn't understand. I'll never forget the situation. I was like literally in bed and I cannot move. So I called them. I was like, hey guys, I'm in bed and I'm unable to move. I'm not unable to turn my body around. And they're like, come on, just get off bed, okay? Just... So I'm like, guys, I'm not joking. I really cannot get off bed. I couldn't tell you what was happening. It was just a very strong pain in my back that I couldn't turn around, and I didn't know what was going on. So they came in, they turned me around. I got up and I couldn't stay straight. And I was like, what is that very bad pain in my back? So at first they thought that it was from the bowling. Maybe I, hurt a rib or my back, or I injured the muscle. And we didn't know what was going on. A young guy, athlete, plays college basketball, and they ask you questions. You don't drink alcohol, you don't smoke, no one would think that anything is going on with you. So it's like, don't worry, you might have pneumonia or something. You don't have to worry about that. They gave me some painkillers, very, very strong painkillers. Take those and you don't have to worry. Take the painkillers and feel great for 3 hours. And once the painkillers wears out, the pain is, crazy pain. I can't even explain it. I go back to them and they decide that, no, you're still young. There's nothing. Don't worry. Until I got to a point where the pain was so aggressive, to a point that I was crying, literally going to them in the emergency room, like, please, guys, I need you to help me. No. And I remember in one of my reports, the doctor in Arizona put that the patient is being dramatic. I have this report until now. We can show it. I have the patient is being dramatic. And I'm like, okay, I can't live with this pain anymore. Literally crying. I'll take the painkillers, 3 hours. Once it wears off, I'm in so much pain. So I decided to take a flight back to West Virginia. Now, every time I talk to anyone from the medical industry, and they kind of look at the report from when I went to Arizona and when I flew back to West Virginia, there is no way that I did not die in this. And I'll explain to you why.
Because of the pressure, huh?
Because of the pressure. Because I didn't know. For me, I am traveling because I have pneumonia, right? I'm on a flight. I land in West Virginia. I go to sleep in my dorms. I'll never forget. I go to sleep. I wake up the next day and my skin was dark blue. And everyone's looking at me like, what exactly is going on? And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. So I was going to play basketball because all I'm thinking is I have pneumonia. They told me that there. All right, I'm a healthy person that has pneumonia. Going to play basketball, I was like, I feel so bad. I feel like pressure on my chest. Okay. So I go and I do, I go to the clinic. I said, let me just go and check if something, maybe so they check my oxygen level. It was 76. Usually your oxygen saturation should be anywhere between 95 to 100. And they're looking at me like, they take it off and put it back on and it's still 67. They're like, do me a favor, don't walk off this chair. They call the ambulance. I get up and I knew it was serious when the ambulance came and I was like walking towards the ambulance. I started vomiting blood. This is when I knew it was serious. I don't feel good. I cannot breathe. So I go to West Virginia. It was called Charleston. It's a hospital in Charleston. CAMC. Charleston something it stands for. I don't know. I don't remember what it stands for. So I go to Charleston Hospital. They see me. I'm like pretty much dead. They do a CAT scan. And I remember I had like about 20 doctors or so talking to each other, and I was like sitting and I'm like, what? I don't know what's going on. I have pneumonia, right? So the lead doctor, I remember he came to me. He's like, you know what you have, right? Said, yeah, pneumonia. They told me this in Arizona. So he said, you have a saddle pulmonary embolism. And I didn't understand what does that mean. I don't know what the term means. For me, it's like, okay, what is that? Like the next version of pneumonia or what exactly? So he's like, both of your lungs are blocked and the right side of your heart is blocked. And we don't know if you're gonna make it. I was like, make what? It's like, what do you mean make it? We don't know if you're gonna be with us in the next few hours.
When you get out of this new life, right? Did you have like another purpose in life? Do you have something that you want to really continue with?
Learnings, perspective, looking at life differently. This was amazing. And then also, because this has happened to me, I actually ended up going to California. And when I went to California, it was just a life changing experience. I met my wife there. Met my wife in New York. Um, she's beautiful, love her. And if it wasn't for the blood clot, I would have not found my wife. I have 2 kids. Um, and everything happens for a reason. And if it wasn't for the clot, I would have not been doing what I'm doing today. And so, in a way, I am thankful that this happened, um, because it opened up doors. It made me meet my wife. It was a destiny. I like, again, I would have never been to New York. I was in West Virginia, out of everywhere in the US. I was going to finish my master's degree, go back to play probably basketball in Egypt. But because the clot happened, I had to work for this awesome company that is doing a lot of things for the healthy building movement. Met Paul Shala, who's the chairman of Delos and the founder of the International Wellbeing Institute. Um, then started, kind of like getting into the healthy building movement and getting into understanding how buildings impact people's health and well-being. And it was just, it was, again, I think if you ask me, it was one of the highlights and one of the best things that I appreciate, that I believe that God did this so that I can have a better life, which, alhamdulillah, thanks God, I'm having today. And if it wasn't for the clot, I don't know what I would be doing today.
Everything happened for a reason, as you said.
Absolutely. Everything is connected. Everything does happen for a reason. And if you don't believe that, then a lot of times going through bad times and they just start losing hope. And I always believe that anything bad that is happening in your life is always happening for a good reason. It doesn't need to be something that's going to happen tomorrow. It doesn't need to be something that's going to happen next year. Maybe it's happening for a good cause that you will see after 10 years. You don't know, but you just have to have the faith that you know that any bad thing that happens in your life happens for a good reason. And that's, after I had this experience, now anytime, literally, I can be in a car and get into a car accident and know that that happened for a good reason. Because maybe I was delayed because I would have had a worse accident. Maybe I would have died in this next accident. Or if anything bad happens in my life, it doesn't matter what it is. Now, after the experience that I've gone through, I turned into perfect. Thanks God. It happened for a good reason. If it's a deal that I did not get, if it's a business that I'm unable to get, if it's a contract that whatever it may be, every closed door is happening and happens for a good reason for you, but you just don't know it yet.
It's very impressive. I'm so curious to know, what is the definition of happiness for you right now after getting another life?
The definition of happiness is, I don't know. That's a difficult question. I mean, for me, every second being able to breathe is happiness, right? Every day that, every additional day that we get from God is happiness for me. A lot of times people don't appreciate what they have today. And the reason for that is that things have not been taken away from them, right? For me, a cup of water makes me happy, right? We have a lot of people that can't even get water now. Being able to, to have a family, to live, to have a roof on the top of my head, to have, a watch, clothes, just the simple things, makes me happy. So a lot of times people say, happiness is, you have to have a lot of money and you have to have this. And I promise you, you can have a lot of money. And if you don't have your most important thing, which is your health, nothing else will matter. So for me, I literally look at everything and everything makes me happy. And I try as much as I can to avoid anything that could make me sad or that could make me worry or that could make me stressed. And because again, as I said, I've lost my life. So for me now, it's like anything that I do, I want to make sure that I'm enjoying it to the fullest.
It's lovely. And when you have this, I would say, change about your mindset about health, well-being, how did you find a reason for your business, and how did you connect this? Because I believe that there is a connection between your personal life and business life. How did you connect this?
I did not connect. It was connected. It was meant.
Mhm.
I was meant for this. From when I was an overweight kid to losing weight to then, after losing weight, realizing that I have a talent of speaking. I have a talent of going to speak in schools and universities. And I have this talent in me. And every time I go and speak, people, oh, he's a good speaker. People are always, especially when I was doing it early on with kids in schools, they were able to relate to me because I'm like young, I'm talking about a real story. They were able to relate to me. And I was able to take this talent of speaking to moving it into other things, into other businesses, into forming Tekha Group, which then Tekha Group became this networking kind of like company. And we started getting into doing things with governments and getting to do conferences and all related to health and wellness. And mind you, before I accepted the job with Delos and the International Wellbeing Institute, I had offers from companies like LinkedIn and Google
Oh.
and Microsoft and some of these big Fortune 500 clients that wanted me to be a part of their teams, and I turned them down and the reason I accepted to work with Delos or with the International Wellbeing Institute is that it's a passion of mine, right? Healthy buildings. What is better to understand how the built environment and how we spend the majority of our times inside buildings. And I am now in a business or in a sector that is doing the right thing to make people healthier in buildings. Yeah, I took that. Even though some of these offers were better from a money perspective, but I decided to go to something that I'm going to be passionate about and something that I'm going to do while I'm happy and while I'm motivated and I wake up every single day, having full of energy to actually do these things. And even with my new venture, P3 Global, same thing. So I believe that everything is connected, as you said, and everything happens for a reason. I believe from early on, from back in the days when I was a kid, everything that was happening from me being an overweight kid was happening for a reason. And the reason is, I guess, that it's my role in life to make sure that people are educated about their health and their wellness. People are educated about the importance of doing the right thing to be healthy, because no one is protected.
It's amazing story, and I'm always curious to know. You look from things from another perspective. I like what you're doing with P3 Global, and I saw many of your videos. You're talking about sustainability and how lights and everything is affecting that. Um, when it comes to business, uh, how do you mention or express how could be light, air conditioning, and everything can affect the employee well-being? Because it's very hard to express it, for some people, how my mood can change if I do something like that. Can you tell me, if you want to express it to someone, uh, how your business can leave a bigger impact on people's life and the employees' life?
Yeah, it's simple. I mean, showing them the research and showing them the data and showing them some of the top medical institutions in the world, like Mayo and Cleveland and some of these companies, what they are doing, and they have studied that. And this is not a new thing. I mean, healthy buildings or sustainability or doing the right thing for buildings and for your people, that's not a new thing. I mean, for me, it's as simple as when I'm sitting with any of the leaders, whether that's a CEO of a company or director general of a government entity. It's as simple as that. What is the most important asset that you have in this company? People. That's the number one thing. And my next question is, what are you doing for those people? And this is when a lot of times some of these CEOs or CFOs or COOs would look at you and be like, what do you mean? was like, what are you doing for those people? It's a very simple question. You say that they're your most important asset. What are you doing for them apart from giving them a monthly salary? What else are you doing for them? Some would say, yeah, we give them memberships to gyms I was like, okay, that they spend the majority of their times inside these offices. And these offices are impacting them and impacting you as well. From air quality to lighting to acoustics to the designs and also, what are you doing for the planet that we all should be responsible for? How are you using your assets and how are you using your buildings to do the right thing for your people, but at the same time, do the right thing for the planet? And this is where they were like, well, tell me more. Show them the science, show them the research, show them certain case studies of people that have done this. And this is when they're like, wow, this is great. And me as a leader have a responsibility towards my people more than just giving them a salary. You're responsible for the people that are spending 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours every single day in your office. You're responsible for them and you're responsible for their health. And this is when it becomes easier. I mean, I'll tell you a story, Ahmed, which is funny. Prior to COVID-19, when I was, just doing the International Wellbeing Institute and introducing the global healthy building movement to the Middle East, I remember I used to have many, many conversations. It's like I'm like telling people about wellness, and people look at me and be like, wellness, what is that? Is that yoga or massage? I'm not a massage therapist, I'm sorry, and I'm not a yoga instructor. And it just, because of the fact that I'm so passionate about the topic, I had to go everywhere. Literally in every conference, you'll find me speaking about this topic. Every conference, every meet. And I was not trying to sell anyone anything. All I was trying to do is educate people about the importance of doing these things within their offices, within their buildings, within their communities, within their master plans. I've only done this for a full year without selling anything to anyone. And just getting people educated. And I remember our first client was the UAE Prime Minister's office. That was the first client that have achieved the WELL Platinum certification. And they were so happy and proud when they've achieved it. I remember when they brought me into the office, they started telling me, look, we've changed the plastic bottles. Now we do glass bottles. We've done this. Look at this lighting. And I was so proud to see that the UAE Prime Minister's office is actually doing the right thing for their people. And they became a showcase in the UAE. And fast forward, we were able to enroll over 1 billion square feet from projects, and just being persistent and my goal was not to sell anyone anything. My goal was to educate people about what they need to do. And then it becomes like a domino effect, right? You get the right people to do it. They become your best marketing. Companies tell other companies, governments tell other governments, developers tell other developers, and it just becomes, you have the domino effect.
That's a great idea. I like this. Let me just go into the entrepreneurial journey from your side. So I know when you establish something new, it's very hard, especially when you're doing it in awareness phase, right? How did you have that vision and establish it and let those kind of governments and I would say companies buy your vision? Because selling something, it's not easy, and especially it's something new. How did you establish this from an awareness?
Being authentic. These people know me already. They have been hearing about my name I'm not jumping on a trend. Health and wellness and sustainability are not things that I'm just doing to jump on a trend or this is what everyone is talking about. So now I've been talking about this since 15 years. People can now Google things and they look you up and they see that this is something that you've been doing for so long. And again, when you've worked with certain people and they know you and they know your passion and you know that you're not, I'm not gonna say the word since we are like in a pocket, but they know that you're real, right? You are authentic. You really want to do well for them. It becomes easy. People actually pick up your phone and answer, and they're willing to listen to you. And we're blessed to be living in a country like the UAE and to be in a region like the Middle East, because people are open to new ideas. People are willing to explore and to test and to see different things. And look at how Dubai is, for example. They're always testing new technologies. They're always testing new ideas. And for us, I've built a massive network of people that, luckily, thanks God, they trust me. They know me. They know that I'm a good person. And then things become easy because they know that whenever you're bringing something to the table, whenever you're telling them about something, it's not, I'm not only thinking about from a business perspective, I'm always thinking about from a client's perspective. If I'm giving them something, I want to make sure that they'll pick up the phone and call me and thank me for it versus call me and fight me for it, right? I want to make sure that they become my best marketing team, because they start opening up doors. They start talking about some of the things and services and added value that they've got from us. So I always think about things that way before I pick up the phone and call any of the people that I know, whether that's a CEO of a company or a president of a university, or doesn't. Before I pick up this phone, I make sure that whatever I'm offering them is adding real, tangible value to them. And then the rest becomes easy.
Very impressive. Did you have like a situation before when you sit with CEO or CFO where all of their mind, when you just start to tell them about your idea, what is the impact on my P&L?
Yeah, many times. That's why I don't like to have conversations with all respect to the community of CFOs, but many times. And if that's if that's, I always say this, if that's the conversation that we're going to have, you want, something to make sense in your Excel sheet, maybe it's not time to have this conversation. Maybe it's not time to waste your time and mine. It's as simple as that. If I'm talking to you about your most important asset, which you just told me, people, and you're telling me about, like, how is it going to impact my Excel sheet, which, by the way, it does impact, and we can get into that. But if that's all you're thinking about, then maybe you're not the right client to have this conversation with. Maybe, later on I'll come back when you are ready to have this conversation, because I'm not selling you, a product, a nice to have product, right? I'm selling you your people's health. I'm selling you the planet's sustainability. I'm selling you things that are not a nice to have, but a must have. And the fact that I'm actually having this conversation with you and we have to justify and quantify, and if I put $1 here, how much am I going to get back? Sometimes things don't have, and again, that's what I always say this, ROI, right? A lot of people are talking about what is my return on investment, and my answer to this is, what is the return on your health? Change the ROI into ROH, because not everything has to make sense on an Excel sheet. Sometimes you just have to use your logic. What is your health worth? Everyone that I work with and all the clients that we work with locally and regionally, as well as globally, they already have the awareness. They already want to do the right thing, and we're just helping and supporting them. But sometimes, every now and then, I'll have this in conferences, and if we have to talk about numbers and math and have to make sense of everything, then maybe it's not the right time to have the conversation.
What's your vision with P3 Global?
Is to help as many companies as possible and to really leave a legacy. That's when we started P3, and P3 stands for People, Planet, and Profits, right? Our mantra is, if you do the right thing for your people and you do the right thing for the planet, every CFO is going to be happy because you're going to have the profits, and we can show you that. But my vision is to really help as many companies as possible to fill in a gap that no one is filling today, and to be a trusted partner. I don't call ourselves just like a normal company. To be a trusted partner to governments, to developers, to hotels, that they know that we are here to do the right thing for them. We are here to support them. We are here to support the vision of this country. We are here to support the vision of the region, and we are here to grow, and to help them grow, and to help them do the right thing for their people and for the planet.
It's very impressive. I want to come back to maybe something personal. What was the hardest decision that you have it in your life?
I've had many difficult decisions. I've had many difficult decisions. Again, when I have just mentioned one, not accepting certain roles within certain companies that have, just kind of like pays more than what I used to have. This was a hard decision. Um, a hard decision early on also was to go to the US by myself at 19 years old, start speaking to people all over the US. And that was a difficult decision. I was very young at the time and just going to a new country. And like I was in Dubai and I was in Egypt for a bit. And for us, US is just like a very far, like the United States of America. Like, how are you going there? Very difficult decision, and it was a risk, and I had to take it. But luckily I don't regret any of the decisions that I taken in my life. And yeah, so there are many hard decisions that I personally took in my life, but luckily and thankfully I never regret any of them.
Very impressive. You spoke about the White House. How did you get into the White House?
Yeah. When I was in the US, I was giving speeches to hundreds of thousands of people there. All about my mantra was dream, believe, achieve. And I used to go to a lot of schools and universities like Ohio State University, West Virginia State University. I went to many universities and schools around the US. And at the time, Michelle Obama had a movement called Let's Move. It's America's next move to raise a healthier generation of kids. And so my PR director out of the US knew about something called the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition. And that was an initiative, I believe, by Michelle Obama as well. And we got invited. We got invited there because they heard that there is someone that is doing some great things in the US, and let's find a way to partner with them. And I went there. I went around the White House area, met with Shelley Fall, who was the president of the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition. A highlight in my career. And so they found us, and we found them, and it was a great thing to be there and to be recognized by them.
Was it something that I would say you were the first Arab person going into that place, or?
People say that because I was, when I went, I was like, that was like, what, a few years ago, and I've seen a lot of articles that says this. I'm not going to say I'm the first Arab or the youngest Arab, and I don't have I don't have the stats with me as it relates to who went to the White House. But again, it was something that I'm very proud of, something that was kind of like very rewarding because I've worked so hard to get to that point. Even from going to schools to doing different programs to literally going and meeting with everyone. I worked so hard to actually be able to be recognized by an entity like the White House and the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition.
That's amazing. You mentioned that you don't regret something, right? Which is great. But if I told you that you have right now the possibility to come back in your past and change something, just one thing, what would be that one thing?
Nothing
At all?
I don't regret anything. I lost my life, man. It's like there is nothing to be regret. Like there is nothing that any individual, any human being should be regretting. Because guess what? Let's define regret, right? It's something in the past that have happened and that you wish that you have changed. You know what this does to your brain? You're just stressing yourself out. It's the past. It happened. Finished. Khalas. We take it as a learning. We take it as a positive thing. And again, everything that has happened, bad or good, in the past is happening for a good reason. So for me to regret, I wish I've done it, I'm just wasting time. I'm in the present. I'm in today, and I want to know what I'm going to do tomorrow, and what I'm going to do next year, and what I'm going to do in 10 years from now, and how I'm going to leave a legacy. I don't have time to regret. No regrets whatsoever. And I don't. Again, as I mentioned, a lot of times people are like, "Oh, I wish I have done this because I would have gotten this," and I don't regret. There's no time for that. You're just stressing yourself, and you're then what? Even if you regret, you'll feel bad, you'll stress yourself, and then what? What did you gain out of it? So for me, I always look at the present time. Again, I want to be happy today, now, in this specific moment, and looking ahead. I want to always be, looking for future things and looking for growth. And there's no time for regrets. And I really advise everyone, just, it's the past, whatever it may be. It doesn't matter how bad it is. It's behind you. You have the chance to change that. A lot of times, like, oh, I've had this, I have bad reputation. It's the past. Now you have every opportunity to change whatever past into good things. So I personally don't regret anything. I'm thankful for, again, being here. I'm thankful to be here, breathing air, and no regrets. I don't regret, and I wouldn't change anything that happened in my life. Like, you might ask me, would you change the blood clot situation? Maybe you would have. No, absolutely not. It was a great thing, because without the blood clot, I would have not gone to New York. I would have not met my wife. I would have not got into the healthy building movement with the companies that I worked with. I would have not expanded my network I would not change one thing, even the blood clot. If I go back in time, I want the blood clot to happen, because there was a reason why it happened. And God does not do anything that is bad for anyone. Anything that happens, no matter what. Sometimes people lose, loved ones. Sometimes people go through like some horrible, horrific events in their lives. I always believe, if you have faith, just know and just trust that there is a power. God does never do anything that is bad for anyone. It's just that it might be a test. It might be, it's being done for something that is better for you, as I told you. But God does not do anything that is bad for anyone. So for me to regret, it's me questioning my faith. It happened, and God wanted it, and it was written for me, and I just say, thanks God, and I move on.
I love this mindset. But do you have like any gate or guardrail in your mind? Because at the end of the day, we're human being, right? Sometimes everything in your memory comes back and it emits like negative emotions. How do you control this inner narrative inside you and say, I want to come back here to the present? Do you have something in your mind? Because I like your mindset about that.
Pray. That's it. It's as simple as that. You pray. Anytime you feel depressed, anytime you feel bad, anytime you feel like, things in like you're regretting certain things and you cannot control and do it and be present there when you're praying. And again, like, just go and pray. Go to any place and just sit and pray, or sit by yourself and meditate. There are many forms of prayers, and many forms for me, we pray in certain ways. Christians pray in certain ways. And just pray. Once you pray, just everything becomes better. So that, for me, that's the key to controlling your mental emotions, and always focus on the positive sides. Because again, yes, our brain controls everything, but you are in control of your brain. It depends on how you look at things. As I mentioned, and I gave you the example, you get into an accident, you start cussing as this and that, and why did this happen? But maybe you can have a shift in mindset of like, oh, I got into an accident. Something worse would have happened. So I'm glad that I got into an accident and I was delayed today. Oh, I didn't get this contract. Maybe I have a bigger opportunity that I'm going to get in the future. So it's always looking at the positive side of things versus being a complainer, a nagger, just like, I always being upset about something. It's just changing your mindset to becoming a positive person. And it's very easy for you to do this just by looking at things positively.
Very impressive. Last question I want to ask you is, if there is any entrepreneur listening to us right now, and they have great idea, they act on it long time, and they try to sell it, but for some reason it's not working. what's the best advice that you can give to them?
Keep pushing. It will sell. And if it does not sell because of whatever reason, pivot and do something else. A lot of times, and a lot of entrepreneurs, when they come up with an idea, they are so emotionally attached to what they have. Sometimes people don't care. And maybe you've just designed the product, for example, and you didn't do your market research. First of all, does the market need this product or not? And you have to separate your emotional attachment with what you have created and pivot. Unless you just want to be stubborn. Well, it's good, by the way. Being stubborn and being consistent with something that you really believe is a great thing. But if you get to a point where, like 50 customers told you, 100 customers, 1,000 customers, and you're starting to feel like this is just not working anymore, and instead of giving up, pivot. And maybe you'll come back to it at a different time. So just being agile and pivoting is very, very important in an entrepreneur's life. And just being persistent and being motivated and just have this mindset that you'll never give up.
It's lovely. How do you pivot in that case?
Pivoting can mean so many different things. It could even mean going into a different industry. It could mean, adding something that you don't have into your product. And I believe that in any technology or any product or any service that is being offered, and that's the biggest problems that entrepreneurs face. They have an idea, start fighting people. You have a founder and a co-founder, they put things together and they just want to start selling it, right? But have you done your market research? Have you asked if people want this or not? And I think that's very, very important. It's great to have an idea, but you always have to validate this whether the market wants it or not. And this gives you the way to pivot, because if I have a product or I have a technology, right, and I have clients, when I ask them early on, hey, I'm developing this, they will give you the feedback of what they need. I need X, Y, and Z. And then that makes you kind of like, okay, my product does these 3 things. Clients are telling me we want to get into those other 4 things. Maybe I need to shift. Maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need to do that. So pivoting can mean changing your product, adding algorithms, it depends on the sector that you're in, but just being agile and not being stubborn to like, it's either my way or the runway, or the highway, they say, my way or the highway.
That's lovely, Tekha. It was a pleasure meeting you here and listening to your amazing story, and I wish you all the best with P3 Global. I'm sure with your energy and an inspiration and vision, you will go to places where magic happens.
Thank you so much, Ahmed, and really, really nice to be speaking with you today, and looking forward to always remaining connected.
Same here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Unleash is the bridge between my purpose and my mission. And my mission is unleashing the human greatness to its utmost potential.